For Jewish people, this Sabbath is a very important one. It is called Sabbath of Remembrance. In Hebrew, Shabbat Zachor, the Sabbath of Remembrance. Amazingly, it appears Shabbat once in the Torah, the Sabbath of memory. Very interesting and significant table. It is in Hebrew, but I will try to explain to you each word what it means. But before, let us see very important, interesting gematria about this Sabbath. So this Sabbath is called Sabbath Zachor, Sabbath of Remembrance. Zachor, remembering. 935. Then is a same numerical way like the 2 eras of Purim that we are going to read in the scroll of Esther. Mordechai and Esther, those were those who saved the Jewish people by telling them that they are in a danger of Holocaust, and the only way to be saved is to keep the Torah, the Sabbath, to return to the Torah, because they were unfortunately transcending sins, the Torah, they did sins, and they to rectify it, and this did by repenting, fasting, another story. So the decree of extermination of Haman, the Hitler at that time, turned to be Purim, happiness and joy. At the time of the Holocaust, Jews did not listen to the rabbis, even unfortunately start to make a new Torah like the Reform, and the rabbi said, your Reform start a new Torah against God. So Goebbels, also Gematria Aman, and Nazis, Hitler, will do a new doctrine to eradicate, unfortunately, the Jewish people. So we have here Sabbath of Remember. We have to remember the Amalekite who did these terrible things all over history, started from the Crusade, and Nazis, and today's Iranian, all those who want to, and the anti-Semites, they're Amalekites. Amalek means in Hebrew, Amlake, a cruel nation, want to lick the Jewish blood like a dog. This is what you have today. We can see it so clearly. And therefore, this Sabbath is we have to remember all these stories, Germans and Nazis, but the most important, our rabbis tell us you have to remember why they came. It is because of transgressing the Torah. As the Torah tells us, when Jews desecrate the Sabbath, Amalek came. When Jews ask questions, is there a God or not, Amalek came to fight. When they were losing fulfilling the Torah, it is very interesting, mashal, parable, story, which the Medrash says to elaborate this. And he says it is compared to a good friend of a king who once came to visit him in the palace. And when he saw the beautiful trees, the nice fruits, so he wanted to eat them. So he went up on the tree, took some apples and this. Then the dog of the king came and barked and tore his trousers. Whatsoever. So the king came. What happened? So he said, I'm sorry, king. I had really, when I saw the beautiful fruits, my appetite came out. And so every year when the king wants to remind his friend about what he did not tell him, you remember that you wanted to steal my fruits? No. You remember what the dog did to you? The same thing with Jewish people. God does not tell them, what the dog did, but remember what happened. So it means one have to remember that the dog came because of something the Torah, doing sins, iniquities. So this is what we have to remember. We remember the dog, what the dog did to us is a Amalekite. In the Medrash, the Amalekite are compared to dog and snake. Amazingly, you have here gematria of Chazara B'Teshuvah. Chazara B'Teshuvah is very famous expression from outreach, returning back to Judaism. It is returning, but returning from what you did wrong. Amazing. This is exactly what have to be done on this Shabbos. Then also amazing gematria of Mechiat Zechar Amalek. This is what we have to do, to eradicate memory of the Amalekite. Also the same gematria, 935, 935, come together. So this the same gematria. So let us need a table, very, very significant table that you will see yourself. So in black you see here, HaShabbat Zachor, the Sabbath of Remembrance. Once in the Torah, this Shabbos, bizarre, there's a few times, but HaShabbat. Amazingly, it appears exactly in the story, in the Torah, Ilachem B'Amalek, when Jews fought with the Amalekites, when they came to attack them, to fight with them. The very known story that Joshua started fighting with the Amalekites, exactly the right place where we are now. What we have more, it is very interesting because we have the Amalekites today. You have right in the center in red, Iran. Iran, no, clearly. Who is there? Who is the president? Amanai. Amazingly, Amanai comes first. Remember the Amalekite, where's Amanai? Now, Amanai really have to do with Haman. Our rabbis tell us that God chooses name for people to know with whom we are dealing. So Haman, for example, Rabbi Zechariah said, there are letters of strength, showing very strong decree, because in Hebrew, there are 5 books of strength. Man sepach, they call the mem and the nun, like mem nun. You can see yourself mem nun, like his expression of strength. And this shows strength. And this is why we have in Germany, in the center, Germania, Eichmann, mem nun, Mengele, mem nun, and Germany in the middle, definitely. So Eichmann, mem nun, Mengele, München, from all the travels came. We have the positive mem nun, this is Menachem, Messiah, because this against this. We have so amazing, clearly indicating to us to remember that there is the Amalekites who want to eradicate you, to wipe you out. And they say clearly, that the bombs they are doing for this now, Biden helps them to be able to do it, but they are doing it, whatever it is. I don't speak about hundreds, thousands of missiles and rockets around Israel can easily destroy Israel, and the Houthis in Yemen who can have ballistic missiles which also can reach any point in Israel. So no doubt they are in the same kind of situation like in Purim, right? Hoping the Jews only will do tshuva, will return back to the Torah, like in the time of Mordechai and Esther, not the Holocaust, not carrying on, translating the Torah. So you have Iran here, parallel to remember. And then you have Hamas, because Hamas, they are doing really whatever Iran wants. Iran uses them, yeah. Then we have, very interesting, this year, by the way, it's interesting, you have here, Mi Pei from the year 5782, 2022. This is hoping that a great change will be in the world during this time. A change will be by Messiah, Mashiach, and Elijah. And all this bring Geulah, bring redemption. Amazingly, here the Torah tells us that it was a plague in Israel, not the Jewish people. And ותעצר המגפה מעל בני Israel. Suddenly the plague stopped. Apparently what is going now exactly in Israel, hardly Corona. But the other troubles the Jewish suffer for Ukraine all over suffering. So instead of plague, you have troubles, not simple at all. All of this is from heaven. to bring people to return, to keep the Torah. The Gentile have to keep the 7 laws of Noah. Most severe one which they don't keep is abortion and homosexuality. This brought the flood, the disaster to the world, you know. This is really what our rabbis tell us. The rain lasted for 40 days because God was very angry, full of wrath, because they caused him to create creatures. And after 40 days, when the creatures, some meaning the fetus and the embryo, to destroy them. So, this is what happened now. You can have listen to troubles today, not simple what is going on. So, as I said, it's amazing. You have here, by the way, the word Shuvah, repentance. The most important, as we saw in the Gematria of Shabbat Zachor, returning. Then we have the promise of God, which says the following: Sheshet Yamim Ta'aseh Melacha. 6 days you should work. On the 7th day, Shabbat Shabbaton, Sabbath, holy time. Any work you should not do, any labor. No, this is the most important. Because, as we said, when Jews desecrate Shabbos, which is the basis of Jewish nation, of the world, in fact, all the troubles come, Amalekite came, all these enemies of Israel, which we have today, threatening Israel. So, amazing table, as I said, and also Gaoli Gael, God tells us, if you will keep the Sabbath, keep the Torah, then surely you will be redeemed, because redemption depends on this. So, very, very interesting, significant table, as I said. For Jewish people, Shabbat Zachor, this Sabbath is very, very important, you know. It's a great mitzvah to listen to the story of the Amalekite. So many people are going to the synagogue, yeah. Because very important, as the implication of all the whole world on Purim, preparation for Purim. And we are now in very, very significant times, sabbatical time, Shvi'it, sabbatical year, which our rabbis tell us in Sanhedrin 99a, that in the beginning, wars, as we have now, hope they will be finished, you understand what really the source of it is. Then it's written that in the end of it, Motzei Shvi'it, Messiah will come. Amazing, no? Like we saw clearly that our rabbis were right about the wars which will start in sabbatical year. So we have to see that the evil in the world, which is Iran, which supports all the terrorists, Hamas, and also Erev Rav. By the way, Erev Rav are Jewish people who are against the Torah, like this government, who is heresy government, allow the desecration of Shabbos, allow things against the Torah, against God. They are called Erev Rav, and in fact, mixed multitude. But in fact, our rabbis tell us that one of the signs before Messiah will be that those will be the leaders, the rulers, like today we have Lapid, Lieberman, against the Torah, no doubt. So, as I said, very, very significant table. As you have minimal here, there's meeting Amanai, and exactly the location is right. Fighting with Amalekite, and exactly the Amalekite of today want to destroy the Hamas, Iran, and the Erev Rav. And the year, hoping that from this year, sabbatical, like a new era will come. It will be a great change in the world with the coming of Messiah, Mashiach, and Elijah. It's an interesting and important and significant table for our time.